Warning, the Renegade Recruiter is not for the soft, timid, or faint-hearted. If you need permission or seek approval from your mother, spouse, mates in the pub, or anyone else for that matter, this really isn't for you. If any of what you've heard puts you off in the slightest, I advise you not to listen any further. You've been warned. Prepare yourself for the no bullshit, zero fluff. Quick, dirty, and uncensored secrets for any serious recruitment, staffing, and search business owner who wants to earn more money with less work and fewer headaches, without having to kiss ass or bend over backwards to please anyone. He's a relentless and fearless renegade who will stop at nothing to reveal the harsh, unforgiving, and brutal truth about what it really takes to succeed in this business. He's a guy people love to hate and hate to love. It's your host, Terry Edwards. The Renegade Recruiter is unleashed.
Hello. This is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter, and welcome to another podcast. And of course, we're joined by Drew. Drew, how are you, mate?
I'm good, thank you, Terry. How are you?
I'm fantastic. And our co-host is Seth Greene. How are you, Seth?
I am fantastic. I am excited to be here and serve your listeners.
Thank you ever so much for joining us. So without further ado, let's get going.
Seth, just for anyone who doesn't know of you, listen to this now, can you just give us a sort of a brief summary of who you are and what you do now?
Sure, I'll try and be brief. I am the CEO and founder of MarketDominationLLC.com. Market Domination LLC is one of the fastest growing direct response marketing firms in the U.S. I've written 6 best-selling books on marketing. I've been nominated for Marketer of the Year by Dan Kennedy 3 years in a row. I've been featured in Inc. magazine, been interviewed on ABC, NBC, CBS Money Watch, and we generate new customers like magic for our clients who range from everywhere from individual business owners, author, speaker, coach, consultant, professional practices, to all the way up to Fortune 500 companies.
Awesome. Seth, just because our audience, just to let you know, are both North America, Australia, and UK. For those that don't know of Dan Kennedy, I mean, Drew and I are big fans of Dan Kennedy, but could you just give us an overview who Dan Kennedy is and just tell us a bit about him as well, just for those that don't know?
Absolutely. Dan is the highest paid marketing consultant and copywriter on the planet. He's also written about 20 best-selling books. Is the founder of Glaser Kennedy Insider Circle, which is the largest marketing organization of its kind in the world, and is basically the godfather of information marketing and one of the pioneers of direct response marketing for the last 30, 40 years.
Absolutely. And those that haven't, if you haven't read any of Dan Kennedy's books, go and get them now. He really is an awesome author and some great insights into marketing. Thanks for that. So in terms of you, Seth, is there any particular market that you focus on?
We have a large presence in financial services, helping financial advisors because it's where I started. We also have significant presences in the other professional practice spaces like medical, dental, chiropractic, and legal. But I mean, we've got clients that we've got a pizza place, we've got in large chains and Fortune 500 companies, but our biggest presence are the professional practices, the financial advisors, doctor, lawyer, chiropractor, dentist, accountant type of folks.
Services,
awesome.
Yeah. Awesome, thank you.
Brilliant. And Seth, tell us about your 6 best-selling books. Tell us about those. What are your books about?
They're all about direct response marketing. So the 6 are Financial Advisor Marketing Magic, Real Estate Marketing Magic, Online Marketing Magic, Cutting Edge Marketing Magic, the Facebook Ninja, and my newest one, which is just about to be, which is being released as we speak, is Market Domination for Podcasting.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Awesome. And again, sorry, Seth, it's just for those that don't know. Can you just define what you mean by direct response for those that don't know?
Sure.
I think this is really important because people get confused with this and the whole marketing and brand stuff. So it'd be great to hear your definition.
So branding would be getting your name out there. That would be a company like Nike spending $1 billion on ads that say just do it, but they don't actually track any directly shoe sales to those ads. They don't. Whereas direct response, it's not, the goal is solely to drive sales, and it all has to be trackable. So a direct response shoe ad might be come into our store on Tuesday at 10 a.m. and try on a pair of new Nike running shoe and get a free T-shirt and you got to bring this coupon in, or you got to bring this flyer in, or mention this response code so that we can track where you came from.
Yeah, awesome. So I don't know if you find this, Seth, but we find that people say, we do a lot of marketing, we do a lot of branding, and we say, well, what sort of response do you get? Can you measure it? And they say, well, we don't really know, but we spend hundreds of thousands in some cases on marketing or branding, and quite frankly, I think they've just wasted the time if they can't measure it.
I would agree.
We find it quite frustrating. So great. That's what. So our definition is if you carry out a marketing activity and you get a response from your potential clients. That's how we define direct response marketing. So yeah, thanks.
I would define it the same way.
Yeah, and any other marketing in our humble but always right opinion doesn't really count.
So
I would agree.
Yeah.
Seth, I mean, obviously, you mentioned there that you work with a lot of professional services, as does Terry and myself as well. Going back to sort of the brand advertising versus direct response, how do you... I mean, in my experience, most professional services or most businesses in any industry, they're very much brand advertising is all they do and all they know. How do you sort of convince them that actually direct response is the right way to go?
I mean, it's one of the questions it's one of the things you just alluded to. We'll say, if you're doing advertising or you think you're doing advertising or marketing right now, how's that working for you? I did a consultation yesterday for a large dental practice. And they said, we're good for marketing. And I said, okay, well, I just took a tour of your practice before we met, and you've got 10 operatories, and 8 of them are empty right now. And then I said, okay, so how many referrals did you get last month? They say, we don't know. I said, okay, you said you spent this on marketing. How many new patients started care? We don't know. I said, okay, so how well is it really working if you don't know?
Yeah. Great questions there, by the way, Seth. Yeah.
And again, I think it's a mistake that a lot of people make, that they'll be pumping all this money. And it's not even just about money, it's about time as well. The time they put into marketing, and they have no idea whether it's working or not.
Exactly. That is the biggest problem we solve is find out if it's working or not, get rid of all the stuff that's not working, and take the stuff that is working and make it even better.
Yeah. Awesome. So from your Drew, just as a little quickie, Drew, that information you sent me in the calendar, I haven't got that anymore. Just to let you know, Drew, just as an aside. So from your point of view, Seth, is there any particular marketing route that you have a personal preference for?
I would say there are two. There are a few right now. The thing that is working really well for our clients is podcasting. So a podcast is like a radio show on your phone. It's basically an audio interview produced, with music and voiceovers, so it sounds like a real radio show. And what we've found is our clients, we get them interviews with people that could refer them, clients or patients. So if I'm a pediatric dentist, I would get interviews with all of the pediatricians in my city, and then those pediatricians would tweet out, Facebook post, LinkedIn blast, email out, hey, I was on the show, check it out. And then what we do is we take all those interviews, we edit them, we turn them into a book, a physical book, and we publish and market the book. And then those pediatricians will all buy, a few hundred copies and put them in their lobby and give them to their patients, who will then, some of them, because the dentist wrote the book, will say, I didn't know there was such a thing as a pediatric dentist. And my pediatrician just handed me this. I'm going to go check this out. And then they come to our client, and our client gets business out of it. So we have been doing that in niche after niche after niche, and it's working really, really well.
Excellent. So just to recap on that, you'd record a podcast and then you get it transcribed and put it into a book format in a nutshell.
Correct. Yes, and we do all the work. It is completely done for you for our clients. We do the marketing, we book the interviews, we script the interviews, we produce the show, we turn it into a book, we market and publish the book. So literally all they have to do is, do an interview every week, do a 30-minute interview once a week, and the rest we take care of.
Brilliant. And is it sort of one book per interview, or do you have several?
No. So one interview might only be, 10 pages depending on how long it goes. So we take, it may be 10 interviews depending on how long they go. It may be 20 interviews because it's a bookstore book. It's like 150, 200 pages. Yeah. So we've got to do enough interviews to turn that into a book.
Okay. Awesome.
Great, yes. And do you know what, Seth? I've just learned something there, because obviously, we do podcasts all the time, so it's something that we could do ourselves. We've got a ton of podcasts we've done ourselves. That's excellent. And so, Great. And so you found podcasts really, really successful. In terms of previously, what's been some of the biggest mistakes you've made in your business life, and how did you overcome them?
Oh, that's a great question. I've got quite a few. I've got a list. Biggest mistake, I would say, would be spending the money before I made it. So I, for example, had a client, a very, very large company, regional personal injury law firm in our area that we were negotiating a contract for, proposal, contract, everything for like 6 months, and it was a multiple six-figure contract that would have led to, with performance incentives over the years, 7-figure a year in revenue. Wow. So they were going to become one of our probably one of our top 4 or 5 clients in terms of volume and size. And they said yes. They told us to get them a contract. We finally had an agreement. My wife and I were shopping for a house at the time, a new house at the time, because we had recently had our 3rd baby. And I told her that we were having a contract. I told her, hey, go shop for a house in this price range. And I sent the guy the contract. We don't hear anything for a week. Send it again. Don't hear anything. Email, nothing. Phone calls, messages left, no response. After about 30 days, I'm getting really, really frustrated. I just showed up at his office, and I told the secretary, I said, I took my whole day off. I got a book. I'm going to sit here all day until this guy gives me 5 minutes. I'm like, he asked for a contract a month ago, and I still don't have anything back. I know he's busy, but you could take 30 seconds and send it back or send an email. Yeah. So she comes back 2 minutes later and is like, I'm sorry, he changed his mind. Isn't going to hire you. So I then had to go back and tell my wife, you got to lower your price range a couple $100,000 that we were going to spend on that house, because I thought this money was coming in. And so that was not a good day. So I would say, even if they say yes, even if they say send me a contract, don't count the money mentally or physically until it actually clears your bank account.
Yeah, great lesson there. I've got to ask that. What was your wife's reaction to this?
She didn't know that the price range was because of that contract, so she just was like, wow, you're doing really well. That's awesome that we can afford more than we thought. And then when I told her, no, we can't, and here's why, obviously she was disappointed and frustrated and pissed at him and frustrated for me for taking her on an emotional roller coaster, and not telling her and telling her before that we had the money. So, but she was ultimately, she dropped the kids off at her parents and was, allowed me to vent my frustration for a while and was supportive.
Yeah. Yeah, good for you. There's a lesson there, isn't there? Undoubtedly. So you would never make that mistake again, would you?
I have not told anyone money is coming in when it isn't yet, and I'm not perfect, but I've gotten much better at not mentally getting attached to it before it arrives.
Yeah, that's a really interesting thing there, Seth. Again, when you say not get attached to it, just talk us through what you mean by that.
Well, I had mentally assumed that when the person said yes, I believed them, and I still believe people, because I still have people who say, okay, great, send me a contract, let's do it. And I assume that when they say yes, they actually mean yes, and that it's going to go through. I've got to reserve my excitement and happiness and not say, ooh, what could I spend some of that money? Should I go hire another person? What could I use what's our profit margin on that? What could I use some of that extra money for? So I have gotten much better at not getting too excited, because I've had people since then who said, send it to me, or send me the link and I'll punch in my credit card, and then magically they disappear. Then it's, oh, I'm sorry, my partner wants to talk now, or my wife wants to talk now, or somebody else vetoed it. And I said, well, during our process, I asked you, does anybody else influence your decisions? You said no. I said, so you can make the decision and you can say yes and you can pull the trigger, and you said yes. And now all of a sudden, at the time comes to pay, magically there's some other mythical voice that come out of nowhere to veto the deal. So I have learned not to get too excited until the money's in my bank account.
Yeah.
Awesome. And are there sort of any other mistakes that you've made in the past that you sort of you've learned from?
There's a lot of them. I have hired in advance of business coming in, and then had business not come in and had to find a way, because I didn't want to fire the people I just hired, find a way to pay for them. Another mistake we made in the last 2 years was, one of our other sexiest services is our social media marketing, and we are targeting people on Facebook and Twitter based on their credit card purchases as opposed to just whether or not they like something. And so we're getting much higher response rate at much lower cost to acquire a customer. And we had built a large we were one of the few marketing firms that could do that, and we had built a large percentage of our business a couple years ago on that service. And about a year ago, Facebook changed their terms of service. So we can still do it, but we can do a lot less of it than we used to. There's certain industries that we were big in that we can't do it in anymore. They become a lot more restrictive in terms of how we do that service. So we lost 60-70% of the clients we had for that service left. So we lost at least half our revenue in the span of a month because of Facebook's changes. And that's when I invented our Done For You podcasting service, because I needed something to replace it with that would work as well, that would work really well, but wouldn't be dependent on a media platform that could shut us off anytime they want or change their rules. So that's when I came up with a podcasting service. And if your listeners want, I'll give them a free copy of my new book, Market Domination for Podcasting, and access to a live training webinar with me where I walk them through, here's how we do this service for our clients and how you can do it yourself if you want. And that's available at ultimatemarketingmagician.com.
Oh, that's very generous of you, Seth. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Sorry, what's the website again?
ultimatemarketingmagician.com.
Perfect.
You're listening to the Renegade Recruiter Unleashed podcast. For show notes, additional resources, and podcast updates, head over to www.therenegaderecruiter.com.
Brilliant. So, just on that, you mentioned there that you almost overnight lost sort of half your business revenue. How did you deal with that? How did you deal with that setback?
Not as well as I would have liked. I self-medicated with some alcohol, with some food. There might have been some anxiety medication in there for a little while. Some anger, some tears. I got my head out of my butt and asked for help of a couple of my business coaches. I looked for investors in the company to hold us over until we could regenerate that revenue other ways and become profitable again, and had some help of people who were, my coaches who were outside of our business who could say, okay, some things will work out, some won't, who cares, who's next? Let's focus on what you can do to replace that and get even bigger and not be dependent, so that you can't risk having so much of your business tied up in something that could get shut off. Podcasting, there are 1 billion people listening to podcasts right now. There'll be 3 billion in the next 4 years. Could podcasting change or go away? You could, but it's still a recording of an audio interview, and it turns into a book. So that even if iTunes went out of business tomorrow, it would still work. We just wouldn't air on iTunes. We'd air somewhere else. We'd put it on their website. Yeah. We'd put it on Google Play or Stitcher or something else. That industry could change, but the process would still work exactly the same. It just wouldn't air on iTunes.
Some real massive lessons here, Seth. It's just amazing. The first one is the challenges you had with Facebook, and it's a conversation that we have with our clients all the time, not to rely on one platform. The most dangerous number in any business is one. And there was a great example you gave there where you rely on that particular platform with Facebook. And we have clients who rely very much on LinkedIn, as an example. Some of our clients rely on Facebook. Some of our clients rely on one top biller, one top performer. And you just illustrated there how vulnerable you are when you're relying on just the one, be it one main client, one main platform. A real good lesson there, Seth, is that for all of us, and Drew and I as a business, we once only had one merchant account that got closed down on us. I won't repeat exactly what we said when that happened, but I think you can imagine, Seth, when we couldn't take payments for about a month. So a real lesson there. Thank you. I really appreciate your honesty, quite frankly, in sharing that and those mistakes. From your point of view, Seth, what did you learn from making those mistakes?
Again, loneliest number in every business is one. Most vulnerable is one, whether it's one media platform, one product or service, or one client that could have a huge difference. So diversity leads to stability. We need as many forms of revenue as we can deliver as possible. The clients need to, the whales are attractive, but we need to be spread out so that if one leaves or says no, it doesn't dramatically affect our business. And we need stability and diversity when it comes to our team members too.
And the other thing you shared with it, almost in passing, there, is that you have a couple of coaches. How many coaches do you actually have in total?
3.
3. And what's your reason behind that, for having 3 coaches?
They're on different topics. They're on different parts of our business, and nobody can know everything.
No, okay. So true. So true. And how long have you personally worked with coaches, Seth?
13 years.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Again, there's another lesson there for all of us, and for those that haven't got a coach or a mentor or somebody they can turn to, at times they can be invaluable, can't they, Seth? As you well know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's made a huge difference.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Seth. Sorry, Drew. Over to you.
Yeah, Seth, this is sort of a question that we like to ask just to break up the interview a bit and find out more about you. But can you tell us something that most people don't know, so an interesting or funny story?
Something most people don't know. I am a martial artist. I am a black belt in Krav Maga with the Israeli military.
Wow.
Don't know if that's funny or not. Probably not. And I got into marketing because I'm a professional magician and answered a full-page ad for a marketing course in a magic trade journal, which led me to Dave D., who ultimately led me to Dan Kennedy.
Oh, of course, because Dave D's a magician, or was a magician.
Was, yes.
Yeah. Oh, I see.
So, tell us a bit more about that. Tell us a bit more about your background and how you got to where you are now.
Sure. So again, I started. I was a retail financial advisor, cold calling for business. Answered, and I got my parents to buy me Dave D's marketing course for magicians when I was about 22, and became the busiest, most expensive magician in my city in 30 days, based on what I learned in that course. And I went to Dave D. and I said, "Where'd you learn it?" He said, "Dan Kennedy." Started buying Dan Kennedy books, products, tapes. And then ultimately had the good fortune to do a consultation with Dan where he told me everything your industry taught you is wrong. Write me this really big check and I'll change your life. Which his pitch was better than that, obviously. And I went home to my wife and I said, "Honey, a year ago we got married. 9 months ago we bought our first house. 6 months ago, 3 months ago we had our first baby. 3 weeks ago you quit your job to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm sole breadwinner and I'm cold calling, but I got to go borrow more than our mortgage to go hire this guy Dan." And she said no. And
Really?
Really. It's a surprise, right? And then for the next, I asked every day for 30 days in a row, and her nose got more and more vehement with some words that I won't say on this podcast inserted in between. And then on day 31, she said, "You better pray this works." And she caved. And we're both very glad she did, because I went to work with Dan. He quadrupled my financial services business in 2 years, took me to the top 30 in the country for opening new accounts at a Fortune 500 company with 6,700 advisors. And then they started calling me, asking me, "How do I do this? How do I do what you did?" And Dan said, "Start a marketing company and do it for him." And that was 9 years ago.
Awesome.
Wow. So, I've got to ask Seth, how much, if you don't mind sharing, how much did you have to pay? Did you pay Dan for that consultation?
Dan charges $18,000 for a consulting day.
Awesome. Seth, just on that, you mentioned that you sort of quadrupled your business revenue in 2 years. Can you share with us some of the things that you've done? So if you could sort of pick 3 of the biggest changes that you made to your business that made that big difference.
Sure. I stopped cold calling. I stopped cold mailing everybody. We created a lead generation report, how to overcome the 7 biggest mistakes affluent families make when working with a financial advisor. We created a follow-up sequence that followed up with it. We created a multiple-step lead generation campaign that got people to call in and request it. We sent that direct mail lead generation campaign to a very highly targeted list to get them to request the report, go through the follow-up sequence, get them in our office, and ultimately allow me to, get them to hire us.
Brilliant.
And I guess something you said there that a lot of people find interesting. Direct mail. Why direct mail? Why not an email?
Because first of all, it would have been a spam email because these people were cold.
Yeah.
Second of all, only 5 to 10% of them are going to open the email anyway if you're lucky. And direct mail, you can get a whole lot better targeting and a much better open rate and a much better response rate.
Yeah. Yeah, good for you. We get so much resistance, but not everybody, but a lot of clients that we work with resist pushback when we recommend direct mail. But there's another perfect example there. So that was a game changer for you. The direct mail to a highly targeted list.
Yes.
And Seth, what about now? What do you do to grow your business as it is now?
We do social media, podcasting, direct mail. I speak almost every month. I speak at least 6 times a year at a marketing or social media conference. We do a bunch of internal marketing with our existing clients. We do. I lead a monthly marketing seminar every month for 2 to 3 hours in person. We do. Everything from Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Instagram, Snapchat. I got like 150,000 views on YouTube for 400 or 500 different marketing videos. We have a lot of referral partners and affiliates who we do webinars with, who send us drive traffic to a webinar that we are the guest on or the host of, and then we follow up with those folks. We're doing one this afternoon for 242 people. So there is a laundry list.
Brilliant. Great stuff. And what's been the biggest breakthrough for you in your business over the past 12 months?
Biggest breakthrough. We launched a new service called Vice President of Marketing, which is we're your marketing department in a box. You hire us and we become your entire marketing team. We do your direct mail, your website, your graphic design, your video production, your copywriting, your Infusionsoft development, your scripting, your daily social media. We literally do 17 marketing programs over 12 months. We literally become your entire marketing department in a box, doing your marketing every single day. And we wouldn't have discovered that service without surveying our existing clients. And we found out a lot of them wanted something like this. So we created it, offered it, and it will add, 7 figures to our business.
Awesome.
Well
done, Seth. That's great. And what about what's the best piece of advice you've been given from a mentor or someone that you've actually learned from, Seth?
Best advice, other than all of the 13 years of marketing learning from Dan Kennedy, I would say my favorite piece of advice is from Dr. Corey Malnikoff, the author of The $4 Sandwich, one of my favorite books. And his advice is, who you are affects how well what you do works. So what I've noticed is every time our business takes a geometric leap forward, it's not because I learned some new whiz-bang, Facebook marketing technique or something like that. It's because I grew as a person, and then the business can grow because I grew.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Tell us about this book, $4 Sandwich, you say. I haven't heard of it. Have you, Drew?
No, never.
It is his story of how he went from literally having his debit card decline for a $4 sandwich to building 12 and counting chiropractic practices that all do over $1 million a year. It's an absolutely amazing journey. It's a phenomenal book.
Right, I'll make a note of that. And what's the name of the author?
Dr. Corey Malnikoff.
Thanks for that. Excellent. And who would you say has been the biggest influence on your business journey?
Dan Kennedy, by far.
Yeah. I thought it was that. And we introduced you and we said that you've been the Marketer of the Year for Dan Kennedy, nominated Marketer of the Year for what, on 3 separate occasions?
I am blessed to be the only person who's been nominated. I didn't win, but I'm the only person who's been nominated 3 years in a row.
3 years in a row. That's quite some achievement. And to get nominated, what were your achievements to actually get nominated in the first place?
I had to submit a application which included a video. It included every marketing campaign we had ever done. It included results that we have gotten for ourselves, results for our clients. And it was literally 2 to 3 giant boxes worth of submissions each time. So, I mean, we're talking like 10 to 15 large 3-ring binders filled with campaigns and analysis and why we deserve to be nominated and why we deserve to win.
Well done.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well done.
Seth, tell us a bit more about your newest book that's coming out on podcasting. If someone was to pick that up and only learn one thing from it, what would you want that to be?
If they only had one, I would say don't do the traditional podcasting route where you're trying to get an audience big enough to sell advertising to, and that's how you're going to make money. Because, 90-some% of podcasters will never get, 10,000 downloads an episode. So the way we teach our clients and what we do for them is to create a podcast that they can monetize with no ads whatsoever by being strategic in terms of who they interview on that show, so that the financial advisor might be interviewing the estate planning lawyer who can then go hand out 200 copies of the book to their clients, and then those clients come back to my financial advisor and become clients. So that's how they make money, by getting business from it, as opposed to trying to sell radio commercials.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And your done for you podcasting service, is that, what's included in that? Is it literally...
It is everything. So other than you have to do the interview because it's you building the relationship with your guest.
Yeah.
But we do the research to find who they should be. We do the marketing to get them to say yes. We script the interview. We produce the audio, the cover art, the iTunes channel. We SEO the podcast on iTunes to help it rank better. We produce the show. Then we do the transcription, graphic design, editing, layout, and publishing of the book. And then we do the book launch to market the book.
Wow.
Well, pretty comprehensive, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Awesome. And where can we find more about that?
UltimateMarketingMagician.com.
UltimateMarketingMagician.com.
Excellent. Seth, that's been fantastic. It's real eye-opener there, Seth. Thank you so much indeed for sharing, and for your honesty, and and saying, look, at times you've made mistakes, but you've learned from them. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. I hope I'm saving your listeners some pain and inspiring them to get even better results in their business.
I have to say, Seth, you certainly inspired me with some of the things you shared with me.
Awesome.
Absolutely inspirational, yeah. So thank you so much indeed, Seth.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, if you enjoy the show, tell your friends, and go, if you want the show notes, go to 3wsrenegaderecruiter.com. Drew, thank you so much indeed.
Hang on. It's the Renegade Recruiter.
Sorry, Mike, I get it wrong every single time. TheRenegadeRecruiter.com. I only do this for a living. Go over to TheRenegadeRecruiter.com. Drew, thank you so much indeed for joining us. Again, Seth, thank you very much indeed. This is Terry Edwards, Renegade Recruiter. Take care, take action, and be relentless.